Welcome to the broadcast now. President William Ruto earlier on led the country in marking this year's Mashujaa Day in Kwale County. Let's begin by listening to what he had to say.
Mambo ya ardhi. Nataka niwatangazie ya kwamba tayari tuko na pesa shilingi bilioni 1.5 ya kuanza ile program ya absentee landlords na kusaidia wananchi ambao wanaishi katika mashamba ambayo sio yao, tuweze kuwasaidia wawache kuwa maskota, wawe wenyeji, kwa sababu tutaungana na wale ambao mashamba haya ni yao, tuweze kununua, ndio tuweze kusonga mbele pamoja. Na mimi nataka niulize magavana wetu pamoja na wabunge na wale wengine wote, tuungane katika safari hiyo, ndio tuweze kukomboa watu wetu kutoka mambo ya uskota. Asanteni sana watu wa Kwale, asanteni sana ndugu wa Kenya. Thank you very much. God bless you all and God bless our great country that we love, Kenya. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Naomba kwa heshima sote tusimame kwa
All right, our dedicated team of journalists have been pitching camp in Kwale County to cover this year's Mashujaa Day celebration. Let's now link up with my colleague Jesse Rogers, who is still at the Kwale Stadium. Jesse, happy Mashujaa Day. Talk to us about some of the highlights from the president's speech.
Well, Ashley Mazuri, happy Mashujaa Day. As you rightly put it, we're coming to you live from Kwale Stadium in County 002, Kwale County, where we have been here for a couple of days now, all in anticipation of the event that has just concluded. President William Ruto officially presided over this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations. And as you asked me, Ashley, perhaps the key importance, the major takeaway from President William Ruto's speech touched on his emphasis on the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, where he highlighted various projects under the Better program, touching on agriculture, where he assured farmers that the government has already set aside the necessary funds to ensure that farmers have fertilizers for the next planting season. He equally assured farmers that the cost of fertilizer would be capped at 2,500 Kenya shillings and it would not go higher, bearing in mind the importance of food security in the agriculture sector. Apart from that, President William Ruto equally touched on affordable housing program, which was the theme of this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations. The president highlighting the progress that has been made so far under the affordable housing program, not just in Kwale County, but across the country, emphasizing the need to break away from the bonds of lack of houses, adequate housing, lack of affordable housing. Earlier on, we heard from Governor Achani, the governor of Kwale County, highlighting that the Kwale County government has set aside up to 50 acres to ensure the implementation of the affordable housing project. Those are some of the sentiments that were shared by President William Ruto, where he equally highlighted how they're bringing on board artisanal workers from various parts of the country. A little bit earlier on, the PS for Housing, Charles Hinga, actually disbursed a dummy check on top of the podium, rather, to artisanal workers from Kibra. I think the amount was roughly 700 million check for the various projects where they'll be working on in terms of providing doors and the necessary material. That perhaps encompasses the emphasis on building up the local economy. Those are some of the sentiments that were shared by President William Ruto, but needless to say, the president was a little bit held back in terms of his political message. Remember, it's been a few weeks of heavy political exchanges, bearing in mind what happened at Parliament, where the embattled Rigathi Gachagua was impeached as the deputy president. Of course, he's looked to the courts for recourse, but apart from that, the president did not utter a single word in terms of the push and pull in the executive. Remember, the the law professor, Professor Kithure Kindiki, was here in attendance. And if the sitting position is anything to go by, that was a clear indication that he is definitely closer to power than he was before when he was serving as the CS for Interior. A little bit earlier, the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi referred to Professor Kithure Kindiki as the Deputy President nominee for the Republic of Kenya, giving a hint of how the executive is moving on after that push and pull between the president and his former deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, who, as I mentioned, is seeking recourse in the courts. That's the very latest right here from Kwale County. But Ashley, I have to ask you, who are you celebrating today as your Mashujaa?
Well, that's a good one, Jesse. You know what? I'll say I'm celebrating myself this year.